backup. I'm actually just going to record this via Zoom right now, just so that I have a backup in case other things are going wrong. So other people aren't going to be able to see it. So thanks, Josh, for letting me know. And there are errors. I'm not even going to look into it because we're all here anyway. So
I'm just chatting on the chat that the 8 people sitting there waiting. No.
Oh, okay.
I posted
Thanks.
on the YouTube chat. I got you. Oh. Mm-hmm. So,
And I'm sorry, I'll just jump in
Okay.
quickly again and thank
no problem. Hey,
awful lot
I just want to kind of explain the issue maybe to everybody. So,
Okay.
Guy, if you ever use Total CMS and you're on the admin side, sometimes people get this error less and less lately. I think because they know how to use Total CMS, right? But if the URL that's in your browser doesn't match the URL that is inside your project settings, you can get like this little error at the top saying, "Hey, your project settings don't match the URL in the browser." Total CMS does this for security reasons to make sure that the website that's getting visited is actually the licensed domain, right? So and so you could have issues. It maybe saving won't work and stuff like that. So what Guy does, he does a lot of accessibility testing. If you're not familiar with him from either past summit talks or posts on the community, really big on accessibility. And a lot of the accessibility features that you get in Foundation or in a lot of our stuff, Guy's the one that's kind of been like, "Hey Joe, I need this," right? So a lot of that is has been spearheaded by him. So thank you for that. But he uses a tool called Wave. I think it's like wave.webaim.org, right? Am I correct? Okay. And it is like an accessibility testing tool. And on the homepage of the site he was testing, he was getting this website address error, right? The website, mismatched domain error. And the reason was he was testing the homepage, but he was getting that error. Now that error should only ever show up on the admin side. So it took me a couple days to realize, but I was like, wait, he shouldn't be getting this on the homepage at all because that error should only ever be displayed on the admin page. So I guessed again properly that he had added the admin core into site styles, which was probably a partial that was then added to every single page on the site. So I suggested, hey, remove the admin core from your partial. That should only be on the admin pages. And the error magically went away when he was testing his site on Wave.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
This is why I'm kind of a huge fan of one of two things: either running admin projects as a separate project, especially if you don't need to share your styles across, like run admin as a separate project file. Then you don't ever have that. Will never happen because you would never put admin on the front side project file. And then the other way of doing it is ensuring that I don't use site styles actually to put anything inside of site styles. I use swatch panels, and it allows you to kind of group your types of your swatches and stuff together, but as well as it allows me to keep like admin core separate so you can have its own partial separate. So if you do have one project file for front and back, that you would keep admin core out in a separate type of partial. And I kind of like it because if you were to use site styles across front and back, having a separate panel for admin site styles, like admin swatches, admin core, that allows you then to tweak stuff on the admin in a separate area without putting that styling in the actual site styles that would be across the entire site.
Yep. And just another thing, like while admin core, you could put it on your, I mean, as you saw, your homepage still functioned even though admin core was on there. You don't necessarily want that, mostly because admin core loads a ton of like extra CSS and JavaScript that, I mean, if you don't have any admin stuff on your homepage or on any content page, why have it on there, right? So you were just adding a ton of extra stuff to your page weight that you didn't need at all, right? So
yes, it's called being lazy, Joe. I think in that instance, because
Suddenly I
I
just
went
had
through it and I went through it and I went through it and there are times where you're looking at stuff thinking, why isn't this working? And it doesn't matter if it's straight in front of you, you don't see it. But the moment you came back on that comment, I went straight in, sure enough, deleted it, bang, sorted.
Yep.
And that's after what, a week?
Yeah.
as if I needed another like voice in my head saying, "Watch your page weight."
Oh, Jesus.
I don't even get into that. That's the problem. It's just not working.
So anyone pop in here with some extra questions that I can help out with or answer?
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Bill.
Been trying out the Bento.
Excellent.
And, can I share you a screen?
Sure, you can share your screen.
Here we go. Can you see that?
Ooh, I can see it.
Okay. So this is the layout I'm trying to achieve. 1 to 11. 1 through 7 works correctly. Then it goes tilt one at 8. So I'll show you the. So there's 8 down there, the P. And nothing is showing past that, and I cannot figure out what the heck is going on.
Okay. So go to your Bento grid settings. Click on Bento grid. Okay.
Like 11
Yep,
items
you're
there.
showing 11. Okay. Just curious. Go to medium and others. What is large? What is that item set to on other ones? Is it set to 8? Go to medium. Well, nice. How about small? 0 and extra small.
Yeah, I haven't fiddled with those at all.
Okay. I'm just curious. Okay, go back to large. And so it stops at number 9, you said, right?
8,
Yeah,
I think.
I get 8, and then 9, 10, and 11.
Okay, let's go to number 9. Let's look at the settings on number 9.
Advanced positioning.
3.
So it's column 2, row 5.
Okay. So I did ship an update last night to Bento, and I've completely kind of revamped these rule settings. Okay. I've made them, I think, easier to use, and I've also fixed a lot of bugs in the process as well. So it's possible that my update will fix your issues.
Okay, so I'm just using the grid. I'm not using the rule one.
Yes. I mean the rules in each individual item stack. And so in Bento item, you create rules.
Yeah.
And those settings have been completely revamped.
Okay.
And I was actually today during this live stream, I was going to give kind of an overview of what it will be and the changes. Okay. So why don't I, and it will be a little bit of work to, I'll have to show you on mine on terms of what you'll have to change, because the settings are completely redone. You haven't lost all your layout that you built, but yeah, they're very different.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, just checking it now, I got the update. I tried it earlier in the day when I saw, and it was not showing up. So
okay, cool. Make sure you restart Rapweaver after the update too. Always restart after updates.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Give me a few minutes and then we'll hop into that. Maybe we can answer your questions then. Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? Anything else? Any other topics that we want to jump into? No. Okay. If not, I can hop into and show you some of the updates I did to Bento over the last week. For those that don't know, Bento, I did the pre-launch last Wednesday during the live stream, and it is kind of a pre-launch, so I am actively still working on it. So like I did a pretty big update yesterday that modified how a lot of the settings work. I don't normally tend to do big updates like that willy-nilly after launch, but this is kind of a pre-launch thing. And I think it makes everything a lot better based on the feedback and the designs I saw people trying to make, which is exactly the point of me doing the pre-launch for Bento. So thank you for those that are actually doing that. And share my screen, and then we'll hop on. Let me get these Zoom windows out of the way. Okay. Need that. Okay. Launch. So actually, before I get going on this, it's fine. Let's just go straight into Bento. Okay. So first off, I created some new layouts with Bento, which is pretty cool. Okay. I'm just playing around with new ideas. So here, I'll show some of these new ones that I created. Okay. So this first one, so far, a lot of Bento layouts that I built have been pretty much like, oops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, open on my other display. Okay. So far, a lot of the Bento layouts that I have are like these colored boxes where each item in the grid is the box, right? But someone, I think it was Massimo, was asking for some interesting different layouts, and I was trying to, wrap my brain around what he would want, and he kind of wanted this kind of a more random kind of layout where there was a lot of white space in between the items. And so what I did with this layout, I don't think it's a beautiful layout, but just I kind of created it so he can get more ideas. The guy's a very talented idea generator for pretty great layouts. So in this example here, instead of like the colored box being the entire grid item, it's inside of the grid, right? So like, for example, here, let's inspect this, kind of show it off here. Man, I lowered the resolution of my screen, and now it's like I don't have enough screen space. Okay. I don't need that. All right. So here we have each grid item. Okay. And just what I wanted to show you is if you look at this grid item, right, you'll see how large that grid item is. However, the content is not, like, doesn't fill the entire space, right? I just think it's interesting. This isn't necessarily a great layout you should mimic. However, I think this demo proves a point where you can visually see how grid maybe is working, okay? And that, the content doesn't necessarily need to fill the entire space, okay? Okay, now let's go on some demos that actually do look nice. So here's, I was just playing around again, just with different sort of layouts. So I thought this was an interesting, pretty nice, layout for content. Okay, just pretty slick. And then let's go to this other one. This one was pretty interesting. I like this one where it was kind of like they're all like centralized around this, this D, and it kind of all lays out around it. I really, really enjoyed that. So as we go down, then it kind of just morphs into a different layout. So very different layout from small all the way up to large, but I really loved the large layout. I was trying to come up with with an interesting layout on how it would react on a mobile device, but it's okay. But that layout is money. I think that is just really, really great. Okay. And then the last one, this one is interesting in that all of this was done with one rule, right? So really the only rule I have is on this very first item here. The only rule here is on this first one, and the rest just kind of morph, right? So as we see here, A is large, then kind of and think of this as maybe like a portfolio or some products, and this is kind of your featured one. and all these others could be, other layouts. And as we get down, they kind of, go drift below. And then as we go here, A is still wider. Now it's not very tall. That's because it doesn't have much content. But then all of these other ones kind of, flow below it. So anyway, I thought that was a really great layout. All right. So I wanted to show off. I told you I completely revamped the Bento rule stack. Okay, and Bento rule and the settings are exactly the same as in Bento item. Okay, so they're very different now. Okay, I think initially it looks maybe a little bit more confusing, but the workflow I think is a lot better. Okay, because before it was just a bunch of number boxes and that's it. Okay, so let's go over what we can do here. So I'm going to go ahead and let's add. I'm going to add a Bento rule here just for fun, instead of an item. But this again, the settings are exactly the same. And let's go to number 2. Now these, the way these new settings work is, I think it actually benefits if we start from small and move and build our layout up to large. Okay, and let me explain why. If we notice here, when I added this new rule, okay, you'll see that each basically breakpoint has its own settings group. So here I have extra small, which is also the default sizing. Then we have small, medium, and large. Okay. Now by default, small, medium, and large inherit, right? They'll take in whatever is above it. So for example, here on I'm looking at number 2. If we were to go to actually here, let's go to large. Okay. If I go to, let's say I want number 2, and let's change the color just so we can differentiate it. Okay, there's number 2. Different color. There we go. All right, and let's make number 2 too wide. Okay. Now I'm currently previewing the large layout. We can see that right here. Okay. But because large inherits from medium, medium inherits from small, and small inherits from extra small, this extra small basically propagates up. So if I'm good with that, a lot of times if you set a sizing on an element, you don't need to size it for every single breakpoint, right? So maybe I just want number 2 to always be too wide. And at that point, I don't need to set the sizing on small, medium, or large. Okay. For example, maybe this would be good if I just completely rebuilt a layout. Here, let's go ahead and I'll show you the new workflow in. Let's do this layout. I think this layout was a lot of fun. Okay. Just for kicks here, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this layout since I already built it, and then this layout, just so I can rebuild it quickly. Okay. Wait. And let's just pin it and pin it. Okay, cool. Oh, pinning it actually makes it like you can't hide it, or I'll move them over here to my other display so you guys don't have to look at it. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete everything here. Oh. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and I am going to be building this layout here. Can I resize this? Oh, I can. Nice. Okay, so we're going to be building this layout. Do you guys see this little hovering window? I'm just curious. Yeah. Oh, yeah, cool. Excellent. So I'm going to be building this layout again. Okay. So we're going to start off with the small layouts. Okay. And oops, that's the large layout. We want the small one. There we go. So this is going to be my layout on small devices. Was it? I think this is quite complex for a small, but hold on one second. this might cause Rapid Viewer to crash. Let's see. Let's go back. Oh no, that was my small layout. Okay, never mind. Okay, so we're gonna go from small to large. Okay, never mind. Let's all right, there we go. Oh no, did I get rid of my, dang it. I closed my little preview window. Darn it. How do I get that back in clean shot? No, where clean shot here? Capture history. Restore. In it. Yes. Haha. CleanShot's a great app. It is expensive for a screenshot utility. I'll admit that, but it is very good. Okay. So we're gonna be building this layout, and let's go here. And essentially, if we look at this layout, what you want to do is you want to figure out your smallest item in a grid, right? So in here I have I obviously have 3 tall. Okay. And then over here I have number 2, 5 and 6, and they're kind of interesting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 3 columns wide and 4 rows tall. Okay. So how do we do that? We do number 1 is going to be 1 column, and then number 2 is going to be 2 columns, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So number 1 is just going to be a 1 by 1, okay, on extra small. All right, cool, done. Let's go to number 2. Number 2, we want that to be wide, okay? So that is going to be, and why am I? Oh, that's why I'm not seeing the items. Okay. Hold on one second. Something I'm not sure if I explained this before. After you've solidly developed your entire layout, this item setting, that is what you set last. But I recommend just keeping it at 0 at the beginning. Okay. Okay. So so number 2 is then going to be 2 wide and 2 tall. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to number 2. It's going to be 2 wide and 2 tall. Okay. And let's go ahead and let's do number 3. And number 3 is going to be 1 wide, and you don't see it here. It's going to be 2 tall though. Okay. So let's go ahead, and I want number 3 to be 1 wide and 2 tall. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and number 4. Okay. Number 4 is going to be, oh, this is interesting. I forgot I did this. Okay, now number 4 by default goes here. Okay. But what I want number 4 to be a 1 by 1. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Okay, and we'll get it there eventually. Watch out. Okay, so then number 5, go ahead and do number 5. Number 5 is going to be a 1 by 2. Oops, and that's number 5. Okay, and then the number 6 is going to be the same thing as number 5. All right, so number 6 is going to be the same thing. Now, my layout's a little funky here. Okay, what's going on? So I knew I wanted number 4 to be here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go to number 4, and I want to explicitly place it right there because I know that's exactly what I want. Now, if you wanted, you could do it slightly differently. Okay. Whereas number 4 was too tall, number 5 was too tall, and then number 6 could be a 1 by 1. But I just thought this was an interesting exercise. So, what we're going to do is on number 4, I'm going to do advanced positioning. I want this to be column number 1, row number 4. And there we go. Okay. So I explicitly told where number 4 to go, And now my content grid is in place. Okay. Now my extra small grid is done. I can say, oh, the number of items is 6, and we're done. We're locked in at 6 items. And then we can go to small, and then we can build our small layout. Now for here, my small layout is going to be exactly the same as my extra small layout. So I'm just going to lock that in, and I'm going to set that to 6 items. Done. And now let's go to medium. Now medium is slightly different. We have a different layout. Okay. And that layout is going to be this guy right here. Okay. Maybe I'll put this up top so we can see it up there. Okay. So in order to build this, you'll see that I have a 5 columns by 6 rows. Okay. And why is that? Well, let's look at my design here. So in this design, I have my smallest square here is 4. So number 4 can be a 1 by 1. Okay. So that means number 1 is 2 of those. And then number 2 is going to be 1, 2, 3 of those, right? So that is 2 plus 3 is going to be 5 columns. Okay. And then if we look at my number of rows, we have 6 rows. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. Hold on one second. So this is 1. This one's going to be 2. That one's going to be 2. This one's going to be 2 as well. And this one's going to be 3. And this one actually is going to be 3, I think, as well, the way it comes up. So let's go ahead and start building that out. So now we're going to go to number 1, and let's tweak that. Oh, I already had medium sizing set. So medium sizing is set on number 1 to be a 2 by 2. By default, it would have looked like that, but I didn't delete number 1. So there we go. So we're going to turn on medium sizing, and that is now a 2 by 2. Okay. Because that's what we want, it 2 wide and 2 tall. If we go to number 2, this is going to be a 3 by 3, actually. Okay. Oh, and all of these were because I copied and pasted the other rules. Hold on one second. Let me just turn off all of those. There we go. If you don't know what just happened, I was copying and pasting rule number 1, which had a medium size set. So I just unset all of those so that they're all inherit. Okay. So now we're building. Now we're cooking with Crisco. Okay. So now rule number 2, I want this one to be, let's set medium sizing. I want it to be 3 wide and 2 tall. Actually 3 tall. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's go to number 3. Number 3 here, I want that to be 2 wide. Okay. And 2 tall. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is going to be a 1 by 1. All right, we're getting there. Number 5 is going to be a 3 by 3. Or no, 2 by 2. Oh, 2 by 3. Sorry. Okay. And then number 6 here is going to be a 3 by 2. Let's go ahead and go to medium, and I'll do a 3 by 2. And there we go. And if we preview that. Come on. Boom. Pretty cool. So I did that pretty much just to kind of show you, hopefully, Bill, that helped you out how I kind of built this. So basically, you're gonna build each layout individually by breakpoint size. And this is also the first time I've actually explained out loud my changes that I've been working on the past week. So I did fumble a little bit, so bear with me on that. Thank you very much. So anyway, there we go.
Cool.
Any questions? I know you guys are like deer in headlights or what? I don't know.
It's a lot of settings, but I mean, for good reason.
Yeah, it is. I think Bento scroll actually is a little easier to use because you're just creating the rules, right? So yeah. I think with and actually this another thing is in this update, I renamed Bento Grid to be just Bento. So while you can create very intriguing layouts, it does take a little bit of maybe forethought. And I do think having an idea of what your design is going to look like before you go to design it is beneficial, you know? So maybe like I had all these design layouts. I kind of was just scouring YouTube and the web, just like, okay, what are interesting layouts? And then I'm like, oh, I like that. And then I'm able to build it because I can visually see how things are going to lay out, you know? So I do think it is kind of important to try to design your things first, maybe, you know what I mean? Like at least get a general idea, a chicken scratch, you know? So yeah, it's interesting idea.
It'd be cool to have a like a template in Affinity Designer with different size grids that you could maybe just start moving around.
Yeah, just moving stuff around. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, maybe,
like,
we, yeah.
Make some like Lego brick type thing, you know, like where you just have a different color or different and just pull them in, make your layout.
Now I do have a third stack for Bento coming. And it's going to it's going to be a different way of doing similar layouts as Bento. It's going to be called Bento Areas. And it takes a very different approach, but you could do similar things with it. So it'll be interesting. I don't have anything to show you right now. But hopefully by next week I'll have something. Or maybe if we're lucky, maybe by the Hangout on Friday, I might have something for those that join the Hangouts on Friday.
Very cool.
You won't have to define you know, like this one is going to be, how do I articulate it? So in the current version, you have to say, okay, item number 1 is going to expand 2 things, 2 wide. Okay. It's going to be very text based. Okay. So, here, might as well tell you guys how it will work, even though I don't have it built. Okay. So let's say in this area here, okay. A lot of times, I think this will be most beneficial when we are building, let's say, a page layout, not necessarily a grid on our page, okay, but a layout for our page itself. Okay. So let's say, for example, okay, we tend to, I'm going to use columns to showcase this, okay, just for fun. Okay, so in here, this is our page layout. Is at the top, we have our hero header, right? Okay, just pretend that has a header with the, you know, menu and images and all that stuff, right? And then below that, we tend to have, let's say, a 2 column, right? That has, and this is our main content, right? And then over here is a sidebar. Okay. And then we also have our obviously our, let's see, this one's going to be like 925. Okay. Right. So we have our main content and our sidebar, and then further down the page, and then we have our footer, right? So this is, let's say, a base layout for a web page. Okay. Now, if you notice, this is kind of like, this is a grid, right? We have, if we look here, I have 2 columns here, right? And then this one spans 2, and then the header up here spans 2, right? So let's say, for example, then I could do something like, like this. So I give each of these areas a name. Okay. So I give each of these areas a name: header, main, sidebar. Here, let's do this content, right? Here, let's say content. Okay, content, sidebar, footer. Okay. And now let's say content here. What's the smallest? The sidebar is our smallest unit in this layout, right? And content is 3 times larger than sidebar. Okay. So what we would do is, let's say, let's make this a lot bigger. Okay. So in this main content, basically we have content, 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 and sidebar. Okay. Basically, I'm creating a grid where content is 3 times larger than the sidebar. Does that make sense? Yeah. Do you see how this here, this line of text correlates to this layout right here?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. You see that?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So then above it, we have a header, and that expands the entire width. Right? So all we do is we just do oops. So there, essentially, this here is my layout. I'm defining my grid with just some text. Right? So I'm defining, hopefully, is that making sense now? So I defined my content. We're creating a grid here that has four items wide. So my content and my sidebar kind of define that, right? Because content is 3 times wider than the sidebar. And then I want my header and my footer to span that entire width. So we're going to go ahead and make that span the entire thing, all 4 of those columns. And that is my definition for my grid. So basically it's you define it, and then basically when I define my grid, and then when I create my content, I say, okay, this content is a part of the area header, and then that will expand that entire bit. And then when we have a content for our sidebar, it will inject it right there. And it's going to inject our content, guess where? Right here. And then when I have my content with footer, I'll define it. I'll say, hey, this content is part of the footer area, and it's going to put it inside and it's going to see that these 4 things are right next to each other. So it's going to create one footer area that spans that space on the page. Am I explaining that well at all? I know I think it's pretty interesting. I'm interested to see it myself. And maybe, does that sound interesting at all?
It does sound interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you made it that way, can you update it in Total CMS? Because it's just text, right? So if you put it in a text file or something like that,
possibly something like that could be done. Yeah.
You can make the layout updatable
and then let's say, okay, so let's say that is my large grid, right? So this is my setting for a large grid, right? Okay. And let's say but my small, I don't want it to look like this, right? I want it to be different. Okay. So on small, maybe we just want everything stacked on top of each other. So at that point, we just have header, content, sidebar, footer. And at that point, this is my small, right? Right? Because then at that point, they're just all on top of each other. And then, of course, you can then change that to be, here, if we want to do medium, we could do like, I don't know, like header, and, maybe we do content, sidebar, I'm guessing. I don't know, something like that. Right. So now on medium devices, the sidebar is going to take up a little bit more space because content is only 2 times bigger than it. Right. So it's interesting. It's different than I think anything that we've had before. And we won't know if it's amazing until we actually get to play with it. So, so that's my idea. I mean, I think it's interesting being able to define these grids using just plain simple text. In my brain, it's brilliant. We'll see implementation. We will see when I implement it if it will converse to my brilliance into your brilliance. We'll see.
I have faith in you, Joe.
Sometimes I have brilliant ideas and they completely flop, and I go, oh well, that was and maybe this will be one of them, but I don't know. We'll see. Because while I think Bento is I really do think it's great, and that edit mode interface is like nothing we've had, I think. And yes, it does take some work to design your grids, but we can actually design them now. Like we couldn't do this before, right? So it's something new, and that edit mode interface is I do think it's great. So, but anyway, okay, I'll stop.
Just turn into a game like
talking about it.
Just turn into a game like Tetris, Joe.
Any other questions?
Yeah, tell us again how you target an item from feeds to a specific bento box.
In Bento Scroll or Bento?
Either one.
Okay. So in all these demos that we've seen so far today, all the content in them is automatically being generated by, I use particle generator, but you can do the same thing with feeds. Okay. Inside Errol, let's show you an example with feeds since that's what you asked. I know I have a feeds in here somewhere. Here it is. Okay. So this particular demo uses feeds. Okay. And it's actually using Bento instead of Bento Scroll. Okay. And you can use it in both. Okay. So basically what you do is actually in the new version, you can actually add feeds directly from Bento now. Okay. I made that a little bit easier. So you can add feeds, total loop, and particle generator, all from there. Those are separate stacks that don't come with Bento. Okay. But if you have them, they will show up here. Okay. So you can just click on feeds and it'll add your feeds in here. Okay. I already have an instance in here. And this instance is just a CSV data that has just some names. Okay. And then in your feeds content area, you have to add a Bento content stack. Okay. Because what feeds is going to do is it's going to generate however many number of feed items, it's going to generate these Bento content stacks automatically. Okay. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names in the CSV data, it's going to generate 6 Bento content areas. Right. And then each of those is just going to contain the name. Does that make sense?
How do I put Davide's name in box 1?
Okay. So inside the rule, so there's different ways you can do it with Bento and Bento Scroll. Right now I'm in Bento, which is the static explicit grid. Okay. And here you can just target the item. You can just target number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. That's the only way to do it. So the order in this data, okay, is Joe, Scott, Davide, Josh, Chris, and Tav. So item number 1 is always going to target the first item. In this case, Joe. Number 2 is going to target Scott. Number 3 is going to target Davide. Number 4 is going to target Josh, Chris, Tab, so on and so forth. Okay. So, but that's the Bento one. We'll look at Bento scroll. We have a little bit more flexibility, but with this grid, with the normal Bento stack, you can only target by the item number. Okay. So if you want them in an explicit order, make sure that you sort them or do whatever you need to do, either in your CSV or your data, or via the feed stack, because feeds can do sorts as well. So if you want it to be alphabetical, you can go ahead and sort by natural sort and sort by name. At that point, feeds will sort the data first, then it will generate the content. Does that make sense?
So I could put a sort column in my feed stack then.
Yes, you could. You could sort in feeds, and then that will define the actual, so you can guarantee that the order of your data that shows up in your layout.
Yeah.
Same thing in feeds. You could also do filters, right? So if you want to filter out some data, you can do that too.
Lots to play with.
Yep. Okay. Now in Bento scroll, we have a lot more options with our rules. Okay. Do I have a Bento scroll that uses feeds? Let me see. Thought I did. Nope. Darn. I don't. Okay. Inside here, well, first off, let's go over the how rules differ here. So in Bento scroll, it's impossible, since Bento scroll can have an infinite number of items, right? We can't really create rules for each individual item. It wouldn't be possible, right? So that's why we have more logic for the rules here. That way we can say, I want to target the first item, last item, every odd one, every even one. You can target an exact item, but that's kind of maybe a one-off thing, right? So if you want to target the 5th one or the 6th one, right? And then you can do nth item. I think this is probably going to be the most frequently used. So you can target every 3rd one, every 5th one, every 10th one. You can create rules based on that. Now there's a couple other things here. We can target class and CSS selector. Okay, class is the new one. I shipped that. That's in the update from last night. Okay, here you can target a class. And so let's say in that example, you wanted to target Davide. Okay, remember before in that CSV, you wanted to target Davide. Okay, so what if I just put Davide in here as a class? Okay, then let's just look at the CSV data. So the name here in my data is Davide. Okay, because it outputs it. What if I were just to put the name as a class? Okay, so if you inject the name from my data as a class, then inside Bento scroll, I can then target everything with that class and do something with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I swore I had an example of this. What does this example do? Oh, this one does something similar. Okay. So in this example, I'm using particle generator here instead of feeds. Okay. But basically I'm injecting a color and a name inside of a class. I could then target those. So here, let's look at this. I don't even remember what this preview was. Oh, it's this one. Okay. So if you see here, I have a, what was it? Size and color, name and color. Okay. So if we look at these, so let's look at this Chris one, for example. Okay. We see here that this grid here, let me make that a little bit bigger. We'll see that this grid item, okay, has a class of blue and a class of Chris. Okay. And this one has orange Josh, red Chris, orange Joe. There are no orange Chris's because those combinations never work out in real life. Inside joke for those that
that'd be even uglier.
Yeah. So Because I now have my name and data as a part of this, I can then target those with Bento. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's say I want to target everything with Chris. Okay, now case does matter. Chris is a capital C, so my class needs to have a capital C. Okay, I don't know. Let's say I want to have this, on large. I want it to be like 4 columns wide. Okay, no, I want to make all Chris's full width. Let's do that. So anything with a Chris class is going to go full width. Okay, so preview that. And there we go. Oh, here's Chris. He's full width. Here's Chris. He's full width. Chris is full width. So you see everything that has Chris is always going to be full width. Right. So that allows us to target our data using a class. Does that help and make sense? So we can build out rules based on our data as well, which is pretty cool. Wait. I did add, for those of you, I also did a really cool update to particle generator this week. Because I was using it. I found it really nice to demo layouts for Bento. And I was playing with it. I found some new features I wanted to add. Let me show that off.
Hey Joe, so quick side note.
Yeah.
And when you go in stacks and you look for updates, when Bento comes up, the logo beside it is Foundation 6 or Foundation 1 or
yep. Yeah, I need to put the official logo in there. That's a good point. Thanks. I did notice that when I saw Bill when Bill looked for updates, I saw that and was like, oops, I need to fix that. Cool. So what was it? Oh yeah, particle generator. So if we look at this demo here, I just wanted, if you notice, every single cell here has a letter, an increment. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, right? And so in particle generator, what particle generator does, if you don't know, okay, I could just say I want to generate a certain number of an item. Okay. Here, let's take it outside of Bento really quick. Okay, just so we can kind of see. So here, I'm just going to create some data. If we look in here, I can give particle generator data. So in here, I have 2 data points. I have size and color. Okay. And size has small, medium, large, and color has a few different colors. Okay. Now, if you look, what I do is I actually have some swatches here. Okay. Now I'm using this to kind of add classes to things, but it could contain actual, text data. Okay. So here I have small, medium, and large. So when something has a small class, it's this height. When it has a medium class, it's a different height. When it has a large class, it's a different height. And then I have some different wallpaper swatches that have different names. So basically, all of these classes, I inject or I get options via particle generator. And then inside there, I take the color and size, and particle generator will do is it'll say, okay, out of this sample set, it's going to randomly pick a color for each one. It's going to randomly pick a size for each one. And basically, I just tell it to inject size and color inside of this class. Now, I could just go ahead and here, let's change this. I'm going to do size right now. Okay. If I preview this, you'll see that here it added the size into each one. So we have medium, small, large. So it's just generating these. And you can generate as many things as you want. So right now it's generating 9. I can generate 90 of them if I want. Okay. And there it's generated 90 of them. And it randomly picked a color and a size value from my data and assigned it to this thing. So I you mean put in color. Right. So now we have size and color in our content. And there we go. Now, obviously, I'm being a little sneaky here in that I'm taking this size and color data and I'm adding it into the class field. And when you obviously when you add it into the class field, it will look at your swatches, right? So I did take things to the next level here. Now, what I wanted to do was I didn't want all of these. I didn't want to put in small. I just wanted to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So what I did is I created a couple new macros that you can use that you don't need to supply data for. It's called index and index ABC. Okay. So let's go ahead and use that. So if I do index inside particle generator, what that will do is it'll just put in the number. So this is the first one, second one. It'll just keep going. It'll just increment the number for the next one. Okay. And then lastly, if we do index ABC, that will create a letter index. So it starts from A. And what's kind of cool is this actually, once it hits Z, it'll go to AA. So then it's still kind of a unique value. And if it keeps going down, after it reaches ZZ, it then does triple A, and so on and so forth, right? And we go to quadruple A, quadruple B, quadruple C. So it's pretty cool. I was pretty happy with that. I thought that was a pretty clever piece of code. But anyway, that was the update to particle generator. Again, it allowed you to add this index and index ABC code. So there we go. How is this? How are those useful in like real life, like on a web page? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I think particle generator is great for testing. Okay. I think it is for like quickly generating, like, I want to see what this looks like with 500 blog posts, you know, like what is my page going to look like? I think particle generator is really cool for that. For just creating like sample data sets. You know, I did add on the demo of Slot Machine. I have maybe one of the few use cases for like maybe doing this on a web page. Okay. Slot Machine. Man, I cannot type today. There we go. So on this page, I created a bunch of squares. Okay. And then like, these are all generated with particle generator. When you click on this, it animates them with drift. Okay. I just think even that's kind of interesting. Like if you just wanted to kind of randomly create a certain number of things on the page, and you know, actually what kind of be cool is, I'm just thinking out loud, like having it start out like this. And then as you scroll down the page, they kind of have like if each one kind of moved a little bit as you scrolled, that would kind of be an interesting effect, right? So particle generator can do stuff like that, where, well, it'll generate the items. Then it's up to you to use drift or something else to animate them. But I think that is an interesting use case with drift, is just to generate a ton of something. They don't need to be displayed on the web page. They could just be, as you see, like on page load, I could just have those automatically do this on page load. And then, you know, as I scroll, they can like drift or something like that.
That'd be a cool effect to show something underneath.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, obviously probably the Z index of this would be underneath and maybe, or have an opacity, right? So that, you know, it doesn't cover your content, but it could be an interesting effect on the page, right? And
no, I mean,
you know,
as you scroll down, it would reveal your content by exploding the.
Oh, yeah. So imagine if they weren't squares, they could be, I don't know, little snowflakes or something. I don't know, you know, actually that's another cool one, you know, like, I don't know, maybe do it with Let It Snow or something. I don't know. I'm totally throwing ideas off the top of my head here, but whatever. Okay. Cool. Any other ideas or stuff we want to play with? Questions?
Can you show us an example of how you created the squares on the Stacks product page with Bento?
Sure. Well, that square, the squares on, oh, that was the slot machine product page. So this product is called Slot Machine. And it contains the particle generator stack. Okay. So yeah, if you're curious on, I think this is in the Slot Machine demo file.
But you have images and text that move when you go to the stacks product page. I thought that was done with Bento and other stacks.
You talking about the main stacks product page?
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about this page?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this page is, at one point, this page mimicked that one, but I've really messed it up. So what Bento will do, where's my web page? Okay. What Bento will do is it will help you create this layout. Okay. Here, let's go ahead. I'll create this layout. I'll recreate this exact layout with Bento right now. Okay. However, what I will say is, like the hover effects and stuff like that, Bento will not do that. Okay. Those you can do with swatches or whatnot. But Bento, what it will do is it will create this layout for you. Okay.
But how do you superimpose the text and the images within the Bento area?
So it's just a part of your content, right? So so here, like for example, in this, okay, so in this Bento grid, in this example here, let's go to a larger example. Okay, I have my image and my content, right? So you can add in your content, right? And then it's inside of my Bento grid, right? So you just add in content. So here, let's go ahead and I'll build that really quick. Okay. We want to start from scratch. What do I have here? Oh, let's just build it from scratch. Why not? Okay. Okay. And actually here, just to help myself, I'm just gonna look at that exact grid. We're gonna build that same exact grid just to save me a little bit of time. This page. Here's the grid. Oh, okay. I am doing grid setups, auto grid. Just give me a second while I set up this grid here. So we have auto grid, separate window, 225. Okay. Then, yeah. Then column size, fit, fill, you have to line content top, gutter, 15 pixels. Oh, and I had fill or fit. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do here is, I am just going to generate a bunch of dummy data for right now. And then I'll show you how you can insert your own data as well. Oh, and I need those swatches over here. Oops. Okay. And this is going to generate, let's generate 100 items. Okay. And then let's look at my rules that I have set up here. I have first child is 1122 1122. Okay. So we have there 1122 1122 first item. Okay. Then I have every 9th item is going to grow to 3 by 1. Okay, let's do that. For fun, let's change the color. Okay, something different. So every 9th item is going to grow to 3 by 1s. Okay. And then I remember the next one was every 8th item. Okay. Every 8th item was 2 by 2. All right. So everything else that's gray that's in this layout is going to be basically the default size. All of these are going to grow and change. And it didn't. What did I do here? Did I break something? It's been a while since I've used this auto grid. Interesting. That might be a bug. Let me go ahead and use this columns grid. Hold on. Give me a second to redesign this in the columns grid instead of the auto fit. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. So here we just have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. That's a 4. Oh, we'll do 5 on large. 5 on large. 4 on medium. 3 and 2. Let's just do that. And gutters were 15 pixels. Okay. All right. See how that looks. Oh, there we go. All right. So this is just show you how you could create. This is the same exact grid that we have on Weaver Space. Okay. Well, it's not. Weaver Space does use this auto grid, which there is obviously a bug in that. So I'll have to fix that. So thanks for making me do that. Okay, but your question was, how do I get the content in here? Okay. Now, what we could do is you can manually add in content in here. Okay, so I'm just going to add in some data in the very first one. Okay. So you can manually add in this data. So let's just go ahead and I can go ahead and add in a picture stack. All right, so I can add in a picture stack, and then I can put in a little, let's put in fun. Let's go into here, get my Bento PNG. Boom. Okay, we can do, let's scale the image to like 256. Okay, I'm gonna center the image. And then below that, we can, I don't know, just put in a header. Make it centered. Let's just preview that. There we go. Right. So now I have Bento Rocks is in there. Right. And it's, all this other is just sample data. But at this point, I mean, it's just content that you add into Bento. Okay. Now, obviously on my webpage, I had, hover effects. So that, let's say that if you notice when I hover over it, this moves up, the image zooms in as well as kind of blurs, and all that's done can be done with swatches.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take the time to mimic this exact thing. Maybe eventually I can. Well, but then everyone will have that on a website and they'll copy all my layouts. But right. But I mean, it is all just swatches. Right. So like, for example, the price button on this one can't be seen until you hover over. Right. It's just has an opacity of 0 by default. And when I hover, it has an opacity of 1. Right. So it's just taking those. I know this might seem daunting, but it's all very simple stuff. If you just take it one bite at a time. Okay, let's start, let's do this button, right? Also, the button's probably, it has a position swatch that makes it positioned at the very top right corner. Right? So it's just, breaking down our design and, implementing one little bit at a time. Now, in terms of if you were to use, let's say, Total CMS, you can use Total CMS in here as well. So if you have a blog, you could then, use, the Total CMS. At this point, you would do the Total CMS macros. I haven't done a demo of that yet. I'm not going to try to attempt to do that now live. I will have an example of Total Loop eventually that will then show you how you can integrate your blog layouts into a Bento layout like this, where your blog post image can be displayed. You have the title, summary, maybe a read more button, all kinds of stuff like that, right? But you're just building the layout directly into here. Now, obviously, this one, it didn't have a background color, right? I mean, we could easily, rectify that just by adding, I don't know, BG secondary or something like that on there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's gray. That's boring. Let's do, and I spelled secondary wrong. Let's say I want to give it this spring. Let's give it the spring background. So I could just go ahead and say spring. There we go. There we go. Now it kind of fits. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Thank you.
Joe.
That's very helpful.
Excellent. No problem. Thank you, Dan.
Joe, the atomic element is the square. Can it be something else? A circle, a triangle, or?
Yeah, I mean, yep. So I mean, like, for example, I mean, anything in HTML is always going to have it's going to be a box by default. Everything is a box, right? But let's go ahead and let's use like the clip path swatch and say circle, right? And so now whatever I add this clip path to should make it a circle, right? Gets cut off a little bit, but yeah,
Great.
we could probably figure that out. Right. So here, let's do the entire thing as circles. It'll be interesting. Some of it might not work like this H. How's that going to work out? Because it's not a square, but I don't know. Let's see what happens. Yeah. It tries to make it a circle, it doesn't make it an oval.
Around the rectangle, yes.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. I didn't plan on this Hangout being the Bento show, by the way. It just sorry about that.
My favorite show.
Just quickly, Joe. I saw the one the Q code one.
Oh yeah, the QR code. Yeah. Oh, that's a good thing to talk about.
That was really good. I was wondering though, would it be possible because to make it like sort of could you have a download button for that Q code?
Yeah.
Because if you were saying to like someone they could create their own Q code for this, that, and whatever.
Yeah. That's actually, it is on my list. So the problem is, let me explain the problem.
The other thing a lot of people do online is you can put an image in the middle as well.
Yes. So my stack doesn't do that.
Yeah.
That would be cool, I admit. But yeah, my My QR code generator isn't that intelligent yet. Maybe eventually. But what he's talking about, for those that you don't know, what was it? Dynamic. There it is. Okay.
Well.
So I created this little web page yesterday. I shipped an update to my QR coder stack. And if you just put in a URL in here and you click submit, it'll dynamically generate a QR code. And that is a QR code to the URL that I put there. Right. And obviously it works, right? You can use your phone and scan it and it'll do that. But what he wants is he wants to be able to download that. And I agree, that would be cool. My thinking, so what this does, I'll tell you what my QR code stack does. Okay, actually, we inspect it. Well, you'll see what it does is it actually generates an SVG file. Okay, so my screen is right. So it actually creates an SVG, which is interesting because it makes it very detailed and very crisp. It doesn't create like a JPEG, right? And when I coded this, I was like, that's really awesome. But then like downloading that is a different can of worms that I never thought about when I initially developed it. So it is a feature that I would like to add to my list. But yeah, as of right now, it doesn't work. So either they'd have to take a screenshot of it, which then they have an image.
Well, that's what
right?
I generally do.
Yeah. Another thing that you could do, I was actually going to tie it into this demo, was to do like a print button.
Yeah,
that then prints this. That prints this. Here, let's do that really quick. Here, it could be interesting. Or we don't need this project open.
I didn't think of that.
I don't need that.
Joe, but is that image stored somewhere?
It is not. It's not stored anywhere.
Okay, it's just created on the spot.
It's generated on the fly as an SVG. Yep.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight, I was, and then I can't really, because I generate an SVG, I can't download an SVG for you because a lot of devices, you want it as a JPEG basically, right? So yeah, then that opens up a whole can of worms. Then I have to have logic where, I create it as a JPEG instead if you download it. And yeah, it's on my list, but I'll admit it's not very high on my list at the moment.
CMS free.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this print option could be pretty interesting. So here's the page.
Would be useful.
So if I print, where's my print? Let's just add a print button, right? To the page. Here, we'll add print styles at the top.
Or is that your printer stack?
Yeah, this is my printer stack. Yeah.
Right.
And then if we wanted, we could even do print show. Oh wait. Here, let's do let's do print hide. Wait, that's fine. My printer stack allows you to show and hide things from the page. Like here, for example, I don't want this when I print it. I don't want this little text, right? So let's hide that when I print. Okay. And I need a button. So let's just chuck a button. Oh, and I want to hide my button too. Although I think my print button stack might hide it by default, but it's okay. I think it does. I don't remember. Here, let's test that really quick. I'll remove that. Let's just put that. And I got to make it at least look semi-pretty. Print QR code. There we go. All right, so let's publish that. No clue if this is going to work. But I think because on mobile, I think this is where it's mostly going to be for mobile, right? All right. So now I've refreshed that. And if I click print QR code, there we go. Interesting. And it doesn't have my button. All right. And then you could just do save as PDF. you know, and there you go. But what's interesting, I want to see, I'm going to test this on my phone. If anyone here, I'll put this in the chat. If anyone wants to test this right now,
Yeah,
I'll put this
You
URL.
gotta exclude the text at the top, Joe.
Oh, did I not do that? I thought I
thought I saw in the print preview that there was some text in there. What's that text?
No, it says enjoy your code. I kept the enjoy your code there.
Oh,
and then this here, the links. Oh, I could turn that off. That's the, I think that's in print
part of the
styles.
SVG?
Append URLs to links. You could turn that off,
Text.
which is cool for text links, but for something like that, probably not. It's probably not the best. So I can agree with that. Oh, thanks. That's
only 510 files
great.
for that little change. Thank you, Rapid Weaver.
Exactly.
It's a heavy code.
This would be good.
There's the URL if anyone wants to play that whenever it finishes publishing. Here, let's test it right now. Let's go to sandbox.java.net. Oh, here, let me just cancel.
I've never thought of a reason to get that print one, but this would be now the print stack.
All right, let's see. All right, so I got the QR code. Let's say print QR code. What does it do? Can I save it to photos? I got the print dialog. Does anybody know? Does anyone print from iOS very often?
Usually requires a special app. Not very
Can I
reliable.
just do copy with apps and run script, edit actions. Oh, save to files. Oh, save to files. Save it to iCloud Drive. Oh, let's check it out. Boom.
I see some green.
Yeah, it's there. I promise. Yeah, it's in my iCloud Drive now. Cool. And it's, the document with exactly what we printed. It has the enjoy your QR code with the QR code, and it still has the link down there. But I'm thinking that's because Rapid didn't finish publishing.
That's interesting. I might have to get the print stack now.
Yeah. So again, I do think I agree. Oh, there we go. Okay, actually, so another thing actually talking about QR codes is I'll put in a plug for actually a Mac app, which is really nice. Now, I think QR code, my stack is interesting. It's cool. And having QR codes on your site is a cool thing. And I think this new dynamic generation thing, awesome too. But sometimes you just want to create a QR code and download it and have the image. Maybe you want to have it on something, right? And I think this app QR Factory is pretty awesome. And funny enough, okay, I didn't know this until after I already bought the app. But so this is the developer. It's a foundation website made with stacks. Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, QR Factory from Tuna Belly Software. It's a stacks website made with foundation. So pretty cool. Look at that. My name's right on there. Actually, it's used Foundation 1, but he actually did last month. I looked him up and I was like, oh wow, what does this guy use? So he recently got Foundation 6. So I assume he's going to redo his website in Foundation 6. So there we go. If you're watching, sweet. Thanks. I think it's Matt Austin, I think was his name. I forget off the top of my head. But yeah, I do think QR Factory is pretty interesting. And it's a nice app. And so it has calendar events, crypto, email, location, person, SMS. I don't know what SEPA is. What's SEPA? Does everybody know? I see bank stuff here, so it must be some sort of bank thing.
It's a model for bank transfer, SEPA.
Ah, okay.
You just have a code there where people can send you money.
Oh, and see, and this app will actually do the images inside the QR codes that my stack can't. It doesn't do that.
So, QR Factory.
QR Factory, yes.
That's good.
I have to say the reason I originally bought this app is because I was trying to do research on how to do the Wi-Fi QR code, and I could not find any documentation on it at all. And I knew this app could do it. So I kind of reverse engineered how it was generating the QR code with the Wi-Fi SID and the password. So and then I emailed the guy and realized that he's a Stacks user too. So pretty awesome stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Right. How much is the print one then? Let's have a look.
Joe, I put the first round of Bento Designer in the other chat.
Oh yeah. Nice.
It's just using the what's it called? Oh my God, what's it called? The thing around the boxes. What's that called?
Borders?
No, well, yes. Stroke. Good Lord.
Oh, stroke.
Like I had one. A thicker stroke to make it look like this has padding or margin. There you go.
Oh man, it opened up ginormous. Heck. There it goes.
Oh, Josh will be busy on his iPad doing all this, won't he?
So yeah, you can just like take the block or the bricks and just move them in there and or copy them in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we'll play with this and refine it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's quick and dirty, so
cool. I like it. So as I was saying earlier, I was saying, kind of pre-design your grids a little bit. So yeah, cool. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, we should add numbers to it too. Okay, I'll add maybe make a little sidebar with numbers, just so you can like drag them over.
Cool. I like it.
That could be fun. All right, cool. I got a robotics class to teach. You guys have a good one.
Ooh, fun. Take care, bud.
Hi guys, thanks for everything. This was a really
no problem.
Cool,
Thank you.
Very insightful. Like those new controls are nice. All right, see you guys at the Friday Hangout.
Cheers. Take care, bud.
See you, Chris. I gotta get back to work. Thanks, Joe.
See you later, Scott.
Well, I haven't had much chance this week to play with Bento. I've been playing with a lot of other things, I've got that MAMP.
Oh, you got MAMP? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I got that. So I was just been doing everything. Also, I'm changing from Chili Dog to to DreamHost. So I'm setting up my QSL databases, but I'm sort of getting everything organized. So I'm doing everything I'm publishing now to the Synology, ready for playing with BAMP.
Okay.
So, but
yeah, MAMP's a good workflow, especially if you're using like a total CMS heavy site. I think it's really cool for testing locally. It could save a lot, especially with publishing. Like you have to publish a ton of files, and sometimes it just takes a long time to publish to your hosting company, But publishing locally, it should be quick,
quick,
super quick. Yeah.
What do you mean? Using MAMP or using the Synology? If you have a Synology disk server, so.
Oh yeah, I can publish. I've got a web server on the Synology as well.
Yep. Yeah. I mean obviously that would be a lot quicker than online, but yeah, I mean, I think MAMP works. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, Synology works too. If you're on the only thing, if you have MAMP, it'll work anywhere, right? If you're on your laptop, it could work anywhere. But on the Synology, obviously that would work only on your local network. Right.
Yeah, I've only used it using the Synology for publishing because I back up everything to the Synology. So I was going to use that for MAMP as well.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So it's just everything in one place rather than multiple places.
Yep.
But,
cool.
I've actually published sites and temporarily onto the Synology and used them. So it does work. But,
yep.
I know what I was trying to do today, because a couple of years ago, before I bought, I've only had the MacBook Pro M1 for a year now, but when I had my Mac Air, I had the cloud and I had everything synced up. So whatever I changed over there, it would change. All my projects synced up. But since Sonomo today, I just haven't managed to get them synced up.
You know, it's something that's been bothering me.
My desktop into a folder.
Yeah, you reminding me about Sonoma. So one thing I know. So when I upgraded, I just recently got this Mac Studio, right? 2 months ago or a month ago or whatever it was. I had never been. I never used Ventura before, a month ago or so, like right before Sonoma was released, right? And I've been wondering, like on my new Mac. I get a lot of stock Adobe art from Adobe stock, so like AI files, but I don't own Adobe Illustrator. I use Adobe Affinity Designer, right? Which I think a lot of you do as well. But it was driving me nuts that like all my newly downloaded Adobe Illustrator files from Adobe stock, I couldn't quick look them. Like, and there's no preview icon. Right? I mean, it just shows the Affinity Designer logo, but it doesn't show actual preview of it. Because before you can quick look it and you would see the contents. And anything that I've downloaded on this new Mac hasn't worked. And after research, I found out that in Ventura, Apple removed the ability for Preview app to open up EPS files, encapsulated PostScript files. Right. And that essentially Adobe Illustrator files are just fancy EPS files. Right. And because Apple removed the ability for the Preview app to read those files, you can no longer quick look them. Well, correction, you can no longer quick look old one or new ones. Funny enough, if I open up a file or I download on my other Mac that's still running Catalina, right, which is the one before Ventura. If I quick look it there, it'll generate the little quick look preview, and then I get the quick look on my Sonoma on my new Mac. So it's interesting. It'll work for old ones, but not newly generated ones on my Mac. So, yeah, kind of sucks. It's driving me crazy. I emailed Affinity, begging them, please just add quick look support because it opens up AI files just fine. Why can't it generate a quick look for me? But I doubt they will. So I'm on the hunt for either an app that will give me quick look support for AI files or something. I don't know, but it would be nice.
I had to download an app just to change all of my mum's iTunes to MP3s to play on the hi-fi system downstairs.
Yeah. So for example, I hear, this is an AI. If I quick look it, I just get, it shows the Affinity logo there, but funny enough, if I scroll down, if we look at, let's say this one, this was one that predates me having this Mac, and quick look works on it. So very interesting. So yeah. I'm working on a new logo for my son's a part of the ROTC, Air Force ROTC at school, and I'm designing a new logo for them. So that's why I had all those airplanes.
Yeah, but the other one I want to get this week was, I think, that Hazel, isn't it? That's the automation one.
Which one?
Hazel, is it Hazel?
Oh, Hazel, yeah.
Yeah, you automate, so you can automate things.
Yep. Yeah. It's a great one. It's a really super useful app.
Yeah, because I've got MAMP on here and on the laptop now working, both with the same license, which is good.
Excellent.
Hopefully I can do the same with that as well.
Yes. I believe Hazel, I have it running on both my Macs too, so it should be good. Yeah,
good. Because
I think long ago it was made for cleaning up, to automate the cleanup or files or something like that in the past.
Hazel. I mean, it still is. I mean, basically it washes folders and then you can, either, whenever a new file is added to a particular folder, it can do stuff with it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you use it for synchronizing between two different machines or?
No, I don't use it for synchronization. I do use it to clean up my downloads folder primarily. Like I have a bunch of rules that, for, if a file is X like, because I download a gazillion RapWeaver projects for support, right? So like my downloads folder before, I mean, without Hazel, it would have like hundreds of RapWeaver projects. So basically I just say, there's a RapWeaver project that's been in my downloads folder for like more than 3 weeks, delete it, so yeah, stuff like that.
And changing the classic to whatever you done, I think you said.
Yes, yeah. So if anyone sends me, because I use RapWeaver 8.93, if anyone sends me a RapWeaver classic file, that has the extension RWC, basically I just have Hazel rename it to RW8, and then it opens just fine in RapWeaver 8. And also like Adobe stock images. If I download it, if it finds an Adobe stock image in my downloads, it copies it into DevonThink, which is what I just showed you. And then I use that as like my stock library, basically. So it automatically adds it into a folder that has all the stock images that I've downloaded. Just so, because for a while, before I created that rule, like I'd download a stock image and then I don't know, maybe I'd delete it by accident or something, or I move it to somewhere and I was like, where's this? I know I got this stock image, but where is it? So this rule just kind of archives it to a general location for me.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping to get this cloud thing working today, so it would just everything would be just the same over there as it is here.
Yeah,
I had it working before.
Yep.
And it's doing me head in, so I might have to think of another, because I'm getting fed up just dragging it across and waiting for it to sync up.
Yep. Sweet. Well, guys, I just realized we've been here for almost 2 hours now. Crazy. Time flies when we're having fun.
Well, I forgot the times. Our clocks changed. I forgot yours didn't, so I was a bit late.
Time changed over there already. Haha.
Yeah,
we change on Saturday.
Oh, that's all right. So Friday will be early then. That's good.
Oh, good. Thanks for that. Maybe I'll make a note when the Hangout post goes on Friday. I'll make sure everybody remembers that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's nice because I've been connected 1 hour later as well. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just because.
That's probably why everyone is connecting, because if someone tries to join a Zoom meeting before I actually start it, like I get emails, and like there was like a dozen people from Europe tried to connect an hour early. And that's exactly why. Interesting.
So the US is out of sync with Europe again.
Yep.
Yeah.
For a week.
It used to be good because when you had the summit, it was always perfect timing.
Yeah.
Only this year it's out of sync.
Although a couple years I did the summit the same weekend that you guys time changed, and that was horrible. Yeah. Hey, before we leave, any other questions that I can help you guys out with? No,
not right at the moment.
No.
Sweet. Cool, guys. Well, hopefully I'll see some of you guys on Friday.
Yep.
Else, thank you, everyone else, for joining.
All right.
Cool.
See you later.
Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, what's that? Google.